At this time, we're going to call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Anson.
Here.
Trustee Duro.
Here.
Trustee Myers.
Here.
Trustee Walschlager.
Here.
Trustee Ledke.
Here.
Trustee Connor. President Vannerstone.
Here. If you don't rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, removing the caps, led by Trustee Anson.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm going to run public comments for all the public comments, so it's not confusing. So, I know on the agenda, at this time, are we going to hold the swearing in till the end? Until all the trustees. So just as everybody knows, on the agenda, it says we're going to do the swearing in of the newly elected people on the village board. All of us, myself and the three trustees to my left, have all signed their oath, and we do that ceremonial. We've done this for about 4 years so that people can actually see someone swearing in. It's kind of cool, but also for the public, they get to see the people that they've elected. With the trustee not being here just yet, he's closing up the pharmacy. We're going to hold that off. I just want to make sure you all know that we have been legally sworn in and signed our oaths. So with that, we're going to go right into public comments. I know on the agenda it says public comments for items that are not on the agenda. Recently, that's just gotten very confusing. Unless the board objects, I think it's appropriate to just have all the public comments. So you get 3 minutes to speak. Do you want to do this swearing in? After public comment. You get 3 minutes to speak, give or take, but try not to go to like 8 or 9. So however we want to do this, I'm guessing, just a show of hands, how many people want to speak publicly tonight? Oh, okay. All right, so if people want to just take their times going to the podium and announcing either what organization you're representing or your name and address of where you live if you're here as a citizen. So
2 minutes, right? Just let's make this happen, girl. Okay, starting now. Hi, I'm Peggy Modi, and I'm on the Swallow School Board. I'm just going to introduce Darren Clark. He sits on the Swallow School Board with me. We are here today to talk about the sale of the Vilter Farm. Currently, it is owned by Arrowhead High School, and we know that Arrowhead is planning on selling it, and we have concerns. If a builder, we know that it is part of Merton right now, but if a builder would come and ask for the 42-acre parcel to be annexed to Heartland and rezoned, we are asking that it be rezoned for single-family dwellings. We do not want to see multifamily dwellings, and we don't want to see commercial. And why is that? We're a K through 8. There are 4 times a day that we have some congestion issues, high congestion and traffic concerns, and those are during the 2 drop-offs for Swallow, or the drop-off and pickup at Swallow and the drop-off and pickup at Arrowhead, which are 4 different times. Also, we're in a time of declining enrollment, and single-family dwellings would really help both Swallow School as well as Arrowhead High School.
And then just one other thing is, as the planning commission, the plan commission,
Yes.
is continuing their work, if that section, there's a lot of foot traffic that's starting to get more and more, just with more homes going up. If sidewalks could be considered in the future to make it better for students and children and adults and everybody, just sidewalks that will start and then ultimately connect to the downtown area, we would love that request as well.
Because keep in mind, we do not have busing for a lot of our kids per state statute. So they are riding their bikes and their scooters and their skateboards, and they are walking. We have kids that walk all year round. I mean, even in the winter. So yeah, the sidewalks are great. It also eases the congestion and the cars coming in and out for the day. Obviously, we would love to see, maybe something community oriented on the plot of land as well. If it would be, like a community center or something wonderful that maybe could be accessed by both the high school and as well as Swallow School. But we also know there's practicalities and realities of selling the property and, getting money. And so we're just asking single-family dwellings if it is rezoned and if a builder developer does come and ask you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I get to keep my marker then.
Anybody else that would like to speak in public comments?
I'm Connie Van Gilder. I'd also like to speak about the Vilter Farm zoning. I would also like it to be zoned single-family residential. We were at the school board meeting for Arrowhead, and they said that, you know, they're desperate enough for money that they'll sell the land to the highest bidder and let either Merton or Heartland decide how it should be zoned. So it might come down to you to make this decision, what's good long-term for Swallow and for Arrowhead. As, you know, we've already mentioned, both schools have declining enrollment. Single-family homes will bring school-age children, apartments, two-bedroom condos, maybe not, right? For each 20 kids enrolled, Arrowhead gets almost $250,000 in funding every year. So we want to make sure we're not penny wise, pound foolish. People associate the Vilter Farm with Arrowhead. If something's built there that the community resents, I believe it will cost Arrowhead valuable goodwill in the community. Finally, as far as the Village of Heartland's best interests, it's been a stressful year for the community. You know, there's a lot of building going on. All of a sudden, Lake Country's kind of looking a lot different than it did. I think we need to be careful how much green space, how much stress we apply to the community. I think apartments in that very visible area would not be the best choice. You know, how much stress do we want to cause? How much will Lake Country still look like Lake Country when we're done? So if it's up to you to decide, please zone it single-family, half-acre lots to preserve the green space. In the difficult times that we're in, we need a community that feels like home, not a place that we don't recognize from one year to the next. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jane Maas. I'm here on behalf of my husband and myself, 338 Merton Avenue. This is regarding the proposed development that Newman wants to do off of Badger Drive into our neighbor's backyard. I believe this board is entitled to some truths before you even hear it or you make some decisions. Number one, Newman and their representative owe every single one of you an apology, including everybody who works at the village. They told us that the village wants our house torn down because it doesn't represent Heartland. I found out from the village president that wasn't true. I was told that we turned down an offer from Newman. We never had a bona fide offer. Nothing in writing, no text, not even a business card. So before you consider what they're doing back there, before you look at what this hodgepodge has been presented, please look at it as a cohesive development. We originally, way back when, wanted to have a road that came through. It would take another property to actually meet up with Renson Road. We would have a controlled intersection there because right now we have way too much traffic on Merton Avenue. You cannot get out of your driveway when Heartland North is getting out, when the church is getting out at St. Charles. It is a mess. And if we add more houses back there, if we don't actually take a look at the whole cohesive thing so that we can do proper traffic, we're going to end up with more accidents and more of a mess. So I'm asking you to look at it as a cohesive and not so that it gets Mod Podge like they're doing right now. And so that you know that whatever is being said, you need to go to the people who they went to and ask what happened. Like we did, we verified. We went to Jeff, and he came to the village administrator. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration, but consider all of us that are on Merton Avenue, all of those in Lake Country Meadows, needs to have a cohesive development so that we as a village can move forward, not Mod Podge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Gay Alberts Ruby, and I live in the town of Delafield. I served on the Heartland Library Board as an extended area representative for 12 years, from 2002 to 2014, and the Waukesha County Federated Library System Board, now the Bridges Library System, for 7 years, from 2004 to 2011. Our family is fully committed to the Heartland Public Library. Our daughter, Janine Ruby, raised the flag at the current library building grand opening because she wrote the winning essay, What the Heartland Public Library Means to Me. My husband Jake and I personally donated between $20,000 and $30,000 to the village when the addition was built. The circulation desk in the library is named in honor of our children. I urge you, as village board members, to reappoint the current library board president, Janet Schmidt. Her institutional memory is unequaled among the board members. Her contributions of time, energy, and perspective have served the village and the library admirably, much as former longtime village board member Dick Landwehr provided institutional memory and perspective for decades. Some of the challenges Janet has met include the search for 3 different library directors and the need to provide vital assistance with the adjustment of each director, yearly budget concerns necessitating priority review and justification by the board, the planning and building of our first version of the current library, during which time there was a change of library directors in the middle of the building. In addition, Janet helped guide and support the challenge of incorporating the major addition of the library by expanding the collection space, adding an academic-style study area, and a revisioning of all of the staff areas. Janet has learned and helped implement a myriad of ever-changing technological advances, along with the director, board, and staff members, all while continually analyzing and responding to library patron needs from all over the area. Throughout the years, Janet Schmidt has advised directors on staff issues, including job performance, skills training, personal concerns, and hiring. Last year, the director and board realized that technology growth was eliminating some positions, and the decision was made to close the tech department. As I can report from my 12 years on the board, she always has taken pains to adapt to the changing board, listening carefully to each person and perspective and making sure that everyone's voice is heard. Janet Schmidt's commitment, her contributions, and her institutional memory are very valuable. I urge you to reappoint her to the Heartland Library Board. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know who wants to go next. Anybody else that wants to speak publicly for public comment? Should we do those?
Somebody's getting out, somebody's.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, maybe not.
Anybody else that wants to speak in public comments? Do you want to do the oaths?
Does anyone on Zoom have any comments?
So there are no other public comments. At this time, we're going to administer the oaths.
I think Ben wants us to step to near the podium, to that area.
Okay.
One at a time. Let's just do that. So
Who's
Jeff,
go- Okay.
you first.
Small chunks,
Yep,
small pieces.
small pieces. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jeff Vanderstill,
Having been elected to the office of village president,
having been elected to the office of village president,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office
discharge the duties of the village president's office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ann Walschlager,
Having been elected to the office of village trustee,
having been elected to the office of village trustee,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office
discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Robin Ledke,
Having been elected to the office of village trustee,
having been elected to the office of village trustee,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office
discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Rick Connor,
Having been elected to the office of village trustee,
having been elected to the office of village trustee,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of
and
Wisconsin,
the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office
discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The first item on the agenda is consideration of a motion to approve village board minutes of April 12th, 2021.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the April 12th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The next item is consideration of a motion to approve vouchers for payment.
Yeah, real quick, sorry, my camera's not on, there we go. Before you guys make any motion on this, the dollar amount is staying the same, but we did have a vendor incorrect. We had one store that it should be battery products. And then we also had two accounts that were put, two items for, I'm trying to see the vendor, I believe it's Weddell Tool Company. They were put to 55,200 and 55,300, and they should be 52,200 and 52,300. Those changes have been made internally in our software.
With those changes being made, I'll make the motion to approve the vouchers for $384,030.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the vouchers in the amount of $384,030. Any discussion?
I have a few questions. Ryan did actually answer most of them, like the web hosting being for quarterly. But I went through and I was looking at some of the payments going to Rukert and Milky, and it looks like for general paving and sealing, we're paying $14,780 for the month. General, $865. Just for GIS upkeep, $3,700. I'm kind of rounding these off. And for water and sewer, $22,000. Especially for the paving and sealing, have those amounts all been budgeted into the main amount? You know, the amount for the project because this is just them going out and doing a portion, because they go out before, they go out during supposedly, and then they go out after. Is all of that included in these bids for the projects?
It is. Yep, all of the R&M that you see with the paving program, that's all the design work ahead of time. It's all part of our bid spec, and once you get the bid spec, getting the design out so that everyone is on the same page and ready to move forward.
Well, I mean, like some of it, like 6,000 went for Nixon Pond, I see. And then the GIS, is that our monthly fee of $37.38? And I know it's divided between different departments, but is that our monthly charge for the GIS program?
I believe that's so what you're looking at, that's the MS4, so that's the updates on MS4 to the stormwater maintenance agreement, so yes, that is an annual fee.
What is the general fee of $864.66 for? When it just says general.
Yep, so part of that is the Pembroke Park Path that the board just approved with the ECOS, coordinating the survey, locate, proposed paths, and then, just downloading the data into the drawing software for those paths, for that new path that we approved.
Will they then have to go back after it's done and look at it and make sure it was done properly and bill us again?
I'm sure they'll look at it to make sure everything's correct.
And bill us again?
Probably, yes.
Okay, that's what I had to ask. Thank you. I'm done.
Anybody else? We do have the motion on the floor, so I'll call the question of approving the vouchers for $384,030. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
That motion is carried. The next item we have is consideration of actions related to licenses and permits. So this permit, there was a change. I noticed that on the agenda it said June 22nd. I just want everybody to know that that date is actually June 23rd. That was a typo, or the date was submitted wrong, one or the other. But we got it. So this is for Heartland Business Improvement District. This is for the Heartland Grand Prix bike race. If we have someone here, which I believe we do, if you want to just fill the board in a little bit.
Michelle, you want to give us an update?
Hi, everybody. Michelle Hader, Director of the Heartland Business Improvement District. Thank you all for having us. So we have filled out a special event permit for the Tour of America's Dairyland Bike Race. That usually they go to 11 host communities on a good year, but this year it will be a little less just with COVID and some safety precautions. So they are proposing this will be the first year that they come to Heartland. And as the bid director, I had approached them saying, hey, would you ever consider Heartland? And I know Jim Cope, you all probably know Jim Cope, has been interested in having this race in downtown. So with the collaboration between the two of us, the bid and Jim, we are able to submit a proposal to you for a street closure to have it happen on Wednesday, June 23rd. Tentatively, the roads would close about 9 a.m. and races would start at 11, go all day, and then roads would be opening back up around 10 p.m. And we also, so Steve here is here on behalf of the bid as well, but we do also have Bill Koch from Tour of America's Dairyland, so if anybody has specific questions on the event, he really is the one that can answer any of those.
Financially, it would cost us as a bid and the village no cost. The only thing that we would be asking for is for police involvement for closing the streets. We can close them, but it's obviously a little bit easier when you have a hat and a badge on to enforce those type of things. But we would have people in place at the corners and along the route, so that wouldn't be an issue. But if somebody had to get out within the route or inside the route, we could use that, and we'd set up designed times for that activity so they could get out and not disrupt and cause any problems with the race or with any type of activity that's going on that day.
Have you guys contacted them?
Pardon?
Contacted PD to talk to them
Yes.
about what, well, okay, perfect.
Did I understand, are you done?
Yeah.
Did I understand that, so you'd be closing East Capitol and Maple Avenue from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
Correct.
Correct. So it's,
And you've talked to all those businesses and they're all okay?
yes, well, so the email has gone out and, had email communications. I've stopped into multiple businesses. There are some concerns about street closures, with Grandma's House Daycare, the funeral home. So we have worked with the event organizer to come up with a game plan and how we can get parents and children and people to that funeral home.
Any type of concerns, I think we've addressed.
Yep.
And we should have those taken care of. Truth be told, this is our first time. As anything, when you do the first time, we're going to hit some hiccups. I think we'll be able to handle those with the amount of people. I've been talking with a lot of people within the biking community. They're very excited about it. They're very excited about donating their time and being part of the activity. I think it'll be great for the village, for all the businesses and also all the people that live, residents within the village of Heartland and around.
So there's some volunteers from your organization that are gonna also do the road closures and things like that? Because I don't wanna tie up 8 of our officers.
No, we understand that. We're gonna do it, but obviously if we have any type of setup and those type of things, and we have a break that we need to cut in, we would use them for that activity. Again, that way it's organized. It's not just regular citizens doing that type of activity.
Well, the chamber does that a lot with different races and things, and they've never had but maybe 1 or 2 policemen at the main drag, so.
We anticipate the same.
Okay.
So,
Out of the floor.
thank you.
Trustee Dorr.
My question is, so I know that you said you've contacted some businesses. I also am aware that some businesses obviously have probably not read the email, so they're not aware of it. Typically, when we ask for a street to be closed down, we request signatures from the businesses. Not that every business is gonna agree, but we need to know that the majority of businesses are on board with this. So me, as a trustee, I would feel more comfortable if you collected the signatures like all the other, events that happen in the streets have to do. They have to do the exact same thing. So until I see that, I'm a huge biker, so I thought it was great, and I would love to do the event myself, but I still have to be fair to all the businesses that this will affect, so, I would like to see all those signatures collected.
Fair enough.
And Darlene can tell you, I don't know what the percentage is of signatures, but
So that's an interesting question, because this is the first time we're using our new special events permit, and the way that this new ordinance reads is that those signatures have come out. So that's not part of their application, but in fact, it requires them to do notification and then provide us a listing and the data as to when they mailed that notification. So this new ordinance, once that goes into place, if we're using this new form, that's what that requires, rather than signatures up front.
okay, but that's not in yet. We haven't
Correct,
adapted
but
that.
our administrator had them complete the new form in anticipation. So that's what we have at this point.
That's incorrect.
I was just given that direction, so that's what we did. In fact, I believe.
Yeah, but we,
Not been approved yet.
yes. And we do have a plan of, communications, sending letters out, going to knocking on people's doors, especially the residents that are in that area on Warren Avenue, knocking on their door, making sure they are aware of the street closures, going to all the businesses. So we do have a vast communication plan for that.
I had one question. Thank you for commenting on the use of the police and fire. The application also talked about our DPW, the Department of Public Works, and working with them on the garbage and recycling.
Yes.
Has that already been figured out, or how, like, I'm just for my own well-being, like, what are your envisioning for that? know
I
you
actually
had
have
bunch of
a meeting,
volunteers.
with police and DPW on Wednesday afternoon. So talking about how many barricades we would need, what police hours would actually look like, where they would need to be, placed on major intersection. Because like Steve said, on major intersections, these are professional bikers. They're going very fast, and because this is a short course, they're going to be making it very quickly. So we can't at major intersections just be having, a volunteer there. So we need to.
Thought process is maybe we would have corners ran by different organizations. Kiwanis would have this one. They would have different corners. They would set up and be in charge of those corners. Obviously, we're trying to get this approval so we can go to them and they can get the volunteers put together. I think that's kind of the way we've addressed it, to make them kind of own those corners. So when we have people coming around, they can be in charge, and there's a set group that's in that. It's the first time. We're going to probably run into some hiccups, but I think that with the group that puts on the Dairyland bike race, they've done this before. They'll give us a lot of help and those type of things, so I don't anticipate this to be too much of a headache. But there's going to be somebody who's going to be inside that loop that needs to get out, didn't read the email, and we're going to have to make accommodations from them or for them. It may not be exactly the way they want it, and it may not be exactly the way the bike race wants it, but we'll try to get and accommodate everybody possible that we can.
Jeff,
He's ready.
I just think before we vote on this, we need to hear from more business owners. I mean, this shuts down a whole day's worth of business for people. I mean, Rick, can you do that at the pharmacy?
It doesn't, it cuts off before me, but if it was an area, I'd have concerns.
So I can speak to some of that. I'm Jessie Kuzak, I own Birch and Banyan Coffee, also vice president of the bid. And personally, this will obviously be a big effect to, you know, our people that come in on their way to work and expect to be able to park on the street. That will absolutely change them. But for the benefit of the village as a whole, I think this is 100% worth it. We are absolutely willing to figure out any obstacles. I've also spoken pretty extensively with Steve Ostrendorf at US Bank next door, because obviously this would affect their drive-through and their ATM area. Same thing, he said as long as he's given enough time to figure this out, he has spoken with his corporate, they're on board with figuring out what needs to be done. So we have not necessarily done, you know, we can't say that we've had every single conversation with every single business, but in the unofficial conversations we've been having, everyone acknowledges that this will be a headache of a day in preparation, but it will be worth it overall.
Mike Pagani owns a Citgo. He said the same thing. He's concerned. He said we can work with our deliveries, we can work with our gas, we can put them off to do different things on different days. He looks at it as, oh boy, this is going to be a change in his life. And then he's like, oh boy, this is going to be great because people are going to be looking for snacks and drinks and those type of things. So maybe his gas consumption or sales will go down, but the other piece will happen. Dr. Jim from the dental office, he said the same thing. You know, it's going to affect traffic flow. But again, the positives outweigh the negatives.
I really think we need to talk to the businesses before we do this, before we vote on it. It's just, yeah.
How would you like us to accommodate that request?
Well,
I can comment on that one.
Yeah, go ahead, Ann.
I do agree with Donna. I think that it was inappropriate to use this document when it has not been
That too.
approved yet.
Okay.
We should still be using the old
For
application.
procedural and,
No.
if that's what they're given.
I understand, no, I understand.
Yeah.
I know it's not. But as with the old one, and I think it should be added in, I do believe that we should get the signatures from every business, or whatever the percentage used to be, that this is going to affect. Like, you know, when the street dance was down there, they had to go get signatures, and anytime a street is blocked off, so that way we know what the businesses, that they've been notified and they're okay with it, or they'll make do with it. I think it's a great event for Heartland, I do. But I still want to make sure that those businesses know that road's going to be closed that long.
Yeah, I think as a board, we represent the village, we represent the businesses, so we have to make sure we represent them in the right way, and that's what their thoughts are that are gonna be impacted. If everybody's happy with it, I'm great with it as
Yeah.
well, but I think before we can vote, we just need to have that reassurance that, that's what everybody's been made aware of and everybody's comfortable with it, that's gonna be impacted.
Any business that's here to speak regarding this issue?
I would just, if you're asking,
Can you go to the podium? Are you citizen speaking? Is that time
I'm
you felt, or are
speaking-
you speaking on behalf of some business or the bid?
I was.
I'm sorry, just for procedure,
No,
otherwise
I
we're
know.
gonna have.
I know.
We'll be here a
And I
long
didn't
time.
know, So I guess I will speak on behalf of Avalon Graphics, which is
Okay.
a business in the
Okay.
bid.
Okay,
I
that's
think-
perfect.
All right, so I think it's great, and I think it's great for the community, but there are more residents that are affected by this than I think businesses. So as a business owner that tries to be connected with the community, I would be concerned about that.
Okay, thank you. Did you get that? You did. I figured you knew, okay.
Can you speak? He's here on behalf of the event.
Oh, yes.
Sure,
Can Bill Hope-
absolutely,
yes.
of course. Of course. Can you come up to the podium, please?
Oh, yeah, sure. My name is Bill Koch, spelled K-O-C-H, and I am the Executive Director and one of the partners for Tour of America's Dairyland. It's also Midwest Cycling Series is the name of the business. So just to clarify a few things, there was some comments about police needs, and generally, so this is our 12th year of doing this, and it's the largest competitive road cycling series in the United States, with about 500 riders per day that race in all categories. So I heard something about pro riders. There are pro riders, but we also have a junior series with kids as young as 9 years old that race. Well, that series will be over by the time we would come to Heartland, hopefully on that Wednesday. But we will have hand cycles also. Amazing. These are all disabled. There's a lot of Paralyzed Veterans of America is the name of one of the organizations. So it's just a mix of different people that come all day long. And we bring the bike race inside the barricades. So we won't barricade the entire course, but the particular corners, the start-finish stretches will all be barricaded. There's volunteers there. The police are generally used where there's traffic pinch points and there's traffic cut off. So if you're coming down, let's say Capitol from the east westbound, there might be a police officer where the road's closed to say, you got to go, here's the official detour to make sure people don't squirt through and end up someplace they don't want to be. So I would say on large terms, 3 to 4 police officers. Sometimes there's some overtime, sometimes there's not, but that's a pretty good average to use. Our ideal course is always a mixture of commercial and residential. Will there be residents impacted by it? Absolutely. By and large, people look at it as a great community event. It brings a lot of visibility to a community. You know that Lake Country's got a huge cycling population out here. I ride my bike. I've been down Capitol so many times. I live in Wauwatosa, but I love riding out this direction. So there's inconveniences, but generally it's paid off by the visibility it provides for the community. And again, it's not going to be guaranteed for every single business and every single resident. There's going to always be somebody unhappy, but we've been in a lot of communities for many, many, many years, and in some communities we block off a lot more than what we would be blocking off here in Heartland. But it's always something we've been able to work with. Tough year one, communication is key, obviously, because it's never been here. There's been various groups trying to have a bike race in Heartland for a long time. And so we're thrilled by the fact that even be standing here talking to all of you. So we've got a lot of good ideas, ways to help people alleviate issues that pop up during the course of the day. And so we're hopeful that things will work out and we can be racing here on June 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I was just going to ask, since you read my mind.
Captain Kelsey Hart, please. What would you like to ask first?
Well, I was going to ask if, obviously they said it was involved, but what your feedback is when we talk 3 to 4 officers, that's
Sure.
during the shift, that's a big percentage of our officers on duty at the time.
Yeah, and definitely wouldn't have the staffing. We're minimal staffing right now on those days. So we would definitely have to put out overtime messages for officers to work that. I mean, we were thinking, I know there's a lot of logistics that need to be set out. I talked to Chief Misko about this. There's a meeting on Wednesday because the permit is very vague as far as barricades and staffing and what would be expected. We were kind of hoping setting up barricades, working with DPW and the group as far as the detour, and then not even staffing it with an officer. But there again, we have some of these logistics that we have to work with on Wednesday with for the meeting, if that makes sense. Anything else?
Answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, excuse me, President, so the question was from Steve was, what would we want them to do next? And I guess I'm just looking for a clarification of how we would go about that. Would it be, at this point, would it be to propose an option or an opportunity?
I think we have a lot of things going on at one time.
Yeah, I do too. That's why I'm
I
like.
think we have, someone may say, I'm just gonna call it right out, people brought up stuff about the form.
Yeah.
A trustee is entitled to make any motion they want to. They're coming in with a request. I think someone could make a motion in any, I'm sorry, I know that isn't very leading, but realistically, someone could make the motion and approve it and say, hey, I trust that the logistics are gonna all get worked out. Someone could say, hey, I wanna deny it because I think all of a sudden someone might be really mad, and it could be anything in between.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just table and put it off 1 month?
Well, just, it puts it off for the meeting, but I don't know how they are on time constraints if it was tabled at the next meeting.
I guess Bill could be so that they wanted to announce their schedule on April 14th, dates and cities and locations.
April 14th?
Yes. So that's, yeah, so we had applied with this new special event permit, you know, with realizing that we didn't have, not because we didn't have to get signatures, but, we were given, that permit where we didn't need to go through that process. Not to say that we can't do it, but it wasn't part of the special event permit, so.
This is- I'm not against it. I'm not against the bike race. I think it'd be great, but you gotta go through the right procedures here. And we gotta ask the right people, and we gotta find out from the citizens and the business owners of Heartland what their views are. And for the most part, I think they're gonna say yes, but if we don't do the due diligence to find out from people and just say, yeah, you can do it, especially with a form that wasn't supposed to be given to you, I think we wouldn't be doing our jobs here. So I think we need to postpone this until the next meeting.
President?
Is there, can I comment?
Yeah.
So if we, looking for some sort of approval, if we ask for approval with the requirement that we get 50%, whatever, or we get a majority of the percent, or we go around and make people aware of it and we get signatures, is that something that's available to you guys today? Or is it more or less, thanks, Steve, come back and see us?
It's on you.
I think it's, thanks, Steve's, come back and see us. I think we need to put it up till the next meeting.
Okay. I just want to make sure so we can go do our
Yeah.
due diligence versus, you know, trying to set everything up and then being a little bit further behind the 8 ball. And, you know, when these opportunities come along, they're usually because somebody else dropped out, right? So we stepped in and now we're dancing. So.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just, first off, you did do what you were told to do, so I appreciate that, thank you. I guess, is the village administrator available for comment, being that you represent the bid district for our board? Is there anything that you wanted to add in this situation?
He doesn't represent us, but he is.
Or
he's
you're on the bid, excuse me, I will rephrase, you are on the bid board.
Sure, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, it's always hard to know if you can hear or not on the Zoom world. So first and foremost, you know, we have the old permit and the issues with the old permit, which we are trying to address with the next agenda items, which are, you know, changing out the old permits to the new permit form. So part of the new permit that, you know, hopefully gets approved this evening is what the bid filled out. The part of the new permit form requires notice to the businesses and residents, not permission like the old permit did. So while we were going through with the attorney and updating the special event permit, which we lean very heavily on other lake country communities like Oconomowoc and Pewaukee, we noticed that they all got rid of that permission, so to speak, from the local businesses and residents for the road closures for the events, and turned it into more of a notification. That being making it more viable to have these types of events if that's what the village wants to do. So that's the answer for that change in the ordinance. The second item is trying to work, because the old permit was so difficult and multiple permits, we were trying to get them to be the first ones to go through the process with the new permit. So I certainly can understand some of the comments that it should be the old permit still. Keep in mind, if the village board takes action to approve the new ordinances, which are the next 2 agenda items, then the new permit would be in effect. So obviously cutting it close, but we're working with what we have. The bid is in a tough position, but a good opportunity to try to bring a bike race that the village has looked at and got close to getting in the past, but wasn't able to do it. And all of this is happening very quickly, so we're trying to work with the best situation that we have to get it to get it in front of the village board to either get approved or not. So apologize if that's causing a little bit of gripe. I think everybody involved, including Michelle and the bid, we'd love another 3 or 4 months to work out these logistics, but the bike race is coming, and the timing is what it is.
Thank you. I guess from, my standpoint, I'm struggling because the reality is that the people that are coming forth with the application, filled out the application is given from our municipality. So therefore, we're not voting on that information until after this discussion. So I'm stuck between a rock and a hard spot on this one. Because I do agree that I want our business community, our residents, everyone updated as well. But this application, there's to the president's point, there are a couple of things going on here.
I wouldn't be as, it is a person could use it as a point of really going at it. Obviously with something where we're gonna be shutting stuff down for the day or the request is there. My bigger concern, or for me, it's more important, not so much what form they filled out, but if this thing is gonna be approved or denied, if it's right for Heartland. But you are right, someone could go at that and say, absolutely not, it's not the appropriate form for right now, but it might be in 5 minutes. They could, or they could table it and say, okay, we're just gonna pass those, but I think the bigger focus is whether they, we're talking about just a form. I think the bigger focus is whether or not this is good for Heartland, whether we can do it, how upset are people going to be, are people going to be able to get out of their homes? Do we really need to go and knock on every single door to be able to do it? Is it maybe that it's just happening so fast that we might not going to be able to do it? I think these are the questions that the trustees and whoever ends up making a motion will have to think about when they make that motion.
I think to tag on to what Jeff said is also, it's not just letting the people know, it's because it's such a long time period. It's not like 5 hours or 6 hours. We're talking, 13 hours here. And I know some people on Maple Avenue that will probably gonna complain about it when they find out about it. So I think they should be notified for sure, but I'd like to make sure that they know about it. And I would like to see that actually even on the new form. But that's another issue.
I can assure you, we'll do whatever it is to get this in front of everybody.
Are you speaking as a citizen?
I would like to make just one comment.
As a citizen?
Yes.
I'm sorry, the public, I can't, because we're gonna, all of this, I
understand.
can't. I'm very sorry.
Yep.
I'm very sorry. Whatever motion someone makes, if they're, or we can move on to the next item.
I make a motion to table this until the next board meeting.
Okay.
I'd say with stipulation of getting, feedback from the businesses and residents, so we can get a poll of the consensus of their opinion of it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been,
Well,
you second it?
I'll second it, yes, with that stipulation, that allows them to get the signatures of businesses and that we
It's been
can
moved.
get a consensus of how many are for or against.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone this till the next meeting with the comments that they are to go and get more information or from the businesses and residents that are gonna be affected, sorry.
I have a question. What did we do when we were gonna close Capitol and close maybe these streets? Do we have everybody's signature when we're gonna do the street work? For everybody up and down those streets and for the
Nope.
businesses?
We
But
just
yeah,
sent them a
we're-
notification.
And all the way around? So if we're gonna do construction, road construction, and it's gonna be effect like that, why would we change it for this? Why would we say, you don't have to get everybody, but it has to be notified, so everybody on that list would have to be notified about it, and then they can work accordingly.
Everybody is notified as far as when road construction is. Do we have an option to deny it? No, because it's an improvement versus an event. So I think that's.
If it's okay with the board, I'm just gonna throw out something really quick
We have
and,
notified all the businesses.
What about the residents?
We have not.
and they can't get in and out either?
It's kind of, we plan to, it's kind of the chicken or the egg. We go out there and tell everybody, and then it doesn't get approved, then
Right.
we're back to, you know, it's, and I know that's, you know, we kind of focused on the businesses because we thought that they would be affected more. And the other residents, we would have the ability to get them in and out if we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be more of a, you know, after everything is approved or once we get everything moving here, that we could get with the residents, say, okay, you gotta get out, we're gonna be closing. We're looking at parking spots where we can have people go
I think it's an outstanding event. I think this is really tough. I mean, hometown celebration is being planned 6 months in advance. Holiday train, 6 months in advance. What I really feel, I feel like we got out of the gate too late, and I think that there's gonna be residents that are going just very upset that they can't get out. But that doesn't mean, I think it might be almost very close to not doable this time without people being upset. We could do it. I think that with more time, it would have been able to, I don't want to turn it away. I feel like there's going to be, we're at a point where we can't even postpone the meeting 2 weeks because that's going to almost put us out of time. It's going to be really tough to notify everybody. But that's just my opinion. I just think that it might be with the full closures and from what is it, 11 a.m. till 8 p.m.
9 a.m. 9
That's
to
a
10.
long time.
It is, the race is, it's a whole day event, and it's.
Do we know how many people are coming?
We've never done this in Heartland, so I can't tell you. I can tell you that
Yeah.
the numbers are large.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, about 500 riders roughly, and all the races that are starting to happen now, because there hasn't been anything for a year, are having sold-out fields. So we average about 500, so I suspect we'd have as many this year as we've had in years past. We didn't race last year. And then generally 1 to 2 people with each rider. So the 1,000 to somewhere 1,500 would be what would be sort of following the race, and then whoever comes to watch from the community. And it's kind of a slow build, so during the course of the main part of the day, there's not a lot of people out there. You might be working, it's a Wednesday. And then you get closer to 5 o'clock, and that's when more people come to watch. I would also just add that there's only been one older person in Milwaukee who required us to get signatures from her constituents, including businesses, before the race happened. And all the rest, we have not done that in the past, and I'm not aware of them doing that in advance of the race. But what we do and encourage is to have like a town hall meeting for residents and businesses to say, hey, this is what's going on, it's going to be really fun. Are there going to be interruptions? Yes, this is what we're going to do to help you out. And you sort of make it a bit of a party, informative communications type thing. But that's just, our history from other communities, so. And it is short time, no doubt about it. I mean, our registration should have opened up a month and a half ago, and we still haven't opened up because we've got, really this window is the one last piece that's sort of, so we'll have to make that decision.
I have a question for you. In other areas that you've done it, has it involved residential? Has it always been business, or is it always a combination
It's
thereof?
always a combination. I shouldn't say it's always a combination. I'm trying to think. Right now, I don't think we have any communities that are just pure commercial. So we race in downtown Janesville. We've been in downtown Milwaukee, but there's always Shorewood, Grafton, Manitowoc this year. Manitowoc, no, they have residents too. So there's always a combination of residents and commercial. And that's really what's appealing to it, because the bar, restaurant owners, it's a big day. For a lot of them, it's the biggest day they have of the year. If you're another type of business, you have to make other arrangements. You special deliveries like the Citgo guy. It's like, okay, I need to know that I'm going to have my delivery on a Tuesday or something like that. But again, generally, not all the time, but generally, they see it as a community event with good exposure for the community, and it's a healthy lifestyle kind of thing, that whole story. So they're supportive of it, but not 100% of the people. I'd be lying to you if I said that
I
was
guess
true.
the question I was getting at, so I live in that area, and I come home at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. How long do I stand there before I can get to my house or drive in? I mean, I know you say accommodate, but I guess from the past experiences, how do you accommodate? I haven't heard anything. I guess I thought if we get a little general idea of how you would accommodate to get in.
We would go around and try to find designated parking areas, across from Hoggers, and maybe that lot, all the public lots we'd open up. We could have people park in the morning before they leave, that night before. We could do those type of things. If they come back, they can park, designate for residents only. Again, it's a lot of logistics we have to get figured out. I apologize for coming to you at this late hour, but when iron's hot, you gotta strike, right? And it's one of those things. So there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of things. I can assure you, we're gonna do everything possible to make sure that everybody knows that they're not gonna come home from work and go, what's going on? They should be aware of it, and we would not want to dupe anybody or, kind of not inform them of anything. But yes, we're gonna have to find places to park. Maybe it's at the high school and we bus people in, we, different locations that we can use. Behind Senior Tomas, there's just a lot of places that we're gonna have to try to figure out, and that's part of the work we have ahead of us. And it's, I think it's gonna be a great activity or event for the village. And I've said this now, I'll say it the third time, there are gonna be a problem, okay? And now I'm a little bit more direct. Not everybody is gonna understand, not everybody's, but the positive is gonna outweigh the negative, and it's gonna be a great village event. And we're gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that you guys feel comfortable, that we can move forward. And we're gonna ask them how long it's gonna take us to do it.
Trustee Lemke's asking to speak. I am going to say, I'm going to call this one at 5 more minutes, and at that point, we will have to move. Well, we have a motion on the floor, but I'll call the question within 5 minutes, only because, we've all gotten a chance to speak, so we
Just
definitely.
wanted to ask, no chance of moving the date? It has to be June 23rd?
There is a possibility, we could do it that Tuesday before, but it would be within the 11 days.
It's that week
Yes.
is the.
Not like, not to like a May.
It's not like you can't go
Or
to, we're not doing it
August,
in
correct.
August or September.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep.
Could I have the motion repeated, please?
The motion was to table this until the next village board meeting, with the added stipulation that that time was to be used to go and notify all the residents and businesses along the route.
Are they providing us with notification of? who
That
they-
wasn't part,
Okay.
that was, the motion was as I
Okay.
just stated it, unless I'm wrong.
So we would not know for sure, because we wouldn't have anything in writing from people, right?
It was not directly
all right,
stated that they
that's all
had
I-
to bring it back
Okay,
in
that's
writing.
what I
but
wanted
that-
to know.
I'm
I
just,
didn't
and I'm
know.
only saying it just the way they said it, but, so
Okay.
yeah, I guess you're right, yeah. we would.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this? So we're gonna call a question. This is, and I'm gonna say, this is to postpone this, not to table it later in the meeting, postpone, carry to the next meeting. So postpone this for 2 weeks, so that you guys can do, well, you heard the stipulation, to go and notify everybody as much as possible, and then,
What does that entail? Like a mailer, an email, knock on doors? Do we have to do 100%? Do we have to get signatures?
Get hold of all the residents on the route.
And what do you mean by get?
Notify them.
Noti-
that
how?
We're gonna do this.
By
So
mail?
that they know before the next meeting that if they've got a problem with it, they can come and voice their opinion.
Just notification, because we've
Just-
done that, or do you want signatures?
You've
'Cause we have
notified all
already
the
done the
residents.
initial notification.
You've notified all the residents.
No, I apologize, not the residents, the
Okay.
business half.
We need all the residents notified and the businesses so that they can come to the next board meeting if they have questions and talk to us about it. That's what we need to do. And I love the
Jeff,
event.
quick clarification, so if we go around and we go door to door, and we talk to, half the residents answer their door, and half the residents, we leave something on their door, is that
That would be a notification. That's a notification.
Okay.
Or a mailer.
I just want to make sure that we don't go out and then come back and you guys go, well, you know, it's not really what we're, and I'm being a little, maybe a little bit too tight on, but I want to make sure it's done right. I'm not
That'd
disagreeing.
be a great day for my business. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at this as a business owner right now. Because as a business owner, I'm going, yay. But as a village trustee, we have to go through the right steps.
Right. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. What I want to make sure is that because we've got to now, we got to hustle now. So if not, you know, the opportunity may slip through our fingers, but like we have said at the bid board meeting, we're going to do everything possible to make sure that you guys feel comfortable and we can get that done. We were hoping that with the current form that we filled out, we would give us some time that this would be approved, and then we could go out and let everybody know, because that's kind of what was given to us to do. But if that's changed, then we will go out and do whatever needs to get done.
And I apologize that you were given that form. I do apologize for that because you did absolutely do the right thing with it. But I would feel better after Wednesday's meeting that you've talked with the DPW, the fire department, and the police department, that all those ducks are in the row as well.
Sure.
So I think that's the most important piece as well.
Again, I know this is reasonable.
Tim, what did you tell the bid in the meetings that they had to do so that they could get this fast tracked?
Fill out this permit and get it to the village board so the village board could decide whether this is an event that they're interested in doing.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, just that I didn't know.
Nope. Well, like I said,
Are you concerned with it, Tim? Sorry, Steve.
I think any type of event like this is going to cause disruption to people. If we're looking to do events like this, which seemed to be something the village board was interested, this is how this is one way to do them. Obviously, we're kind of killing two birds with one stone, if you will. We're in the process of cleaning up our special event permit and switching over to a newer one. So we're and then this event, obviously with a tight time frame, trying to take advantage of the new permit to go through that process for the first time. Apparently that might just be too many odd things happening at once, unfortunately. I don't know.
Okay. So, to call the question, it's to table this, so you guys can go and notify everybody, and then you'll come back. Everybody will have the opportunity to come to the village board meeting and, and voice their concerns if they have them, or write letters to trustees, or emails, anything like that. And then, unfortunately, I know that the time is of the essence, but in trying, it sounds like for the board, including myself, to make sure that we get this somewhat right. At least everybody had the opportunity to come and say something. If they don't come and say something, then that's their choice instead of us not notifying them. So to call the question, it is asking if people are in favor of postponing this until the next village board meeting. So all in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. I'm sorry we got to do it that way, but I do
That's why we came in front of you guys.
Yep, no, perfect. Thank you, Steve.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Guys, I'm sorry, I need to request a recess. Is that okay?
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you. We're gonna take a recess for 5 minutes. Time we'll get the session, we'll get back in session. Thank you for that recess. I think we all needed it. It's gonna be a long one tonight. So the next item on the agenda is consideration of a motion to adopt on third reading, this being the third reading, an ordinance repealing 10-206 through 10-232 of the Village of Heartland Code of Ordinances regulating public dances and concerts. The item after it, so number 5, does go along with this, and it's also a consideration of a motion to adopt on third reading an ordinance amending a different ordinance, but I think that we should take them one at a time, even though they are related.
I'd like to make the motion that we table these, adopting either one of these ordinances, due to the last gentleman that was up in front of us, group that was up in front of us, that I think we need to really review these a little bit more and have a better understanding of the new ordinances.
I second it.
All right, it's been the third, this is considered the third reading. And it's been moved to postpone.
Postpone?
Do you have a meeting that you want to set that to? Or a within time? And I'm just letting you add to it.
It's the.
It'll be May 10th is the next meeting.
May 10th? Yep, May 10th.
So the motion is to postpone the adoption of the new ordinance and along with that to not repeal the old one because we want to have some ordinance in place.
Correct.
So it just, the whole thing gets postponed. Any discussion?
I had questions on this, but with postponing it, there are things I'd like to see changed and clarified. How are we going to
Go through that
go
process.
through that process?
So, and this is not a shot for any of us. Typically, when you have an ordinance, the state law, the reason that there's 3 readings is that throughout those readings, 2 meetings ago when there was the first reading and last meeting when there was the second reading, that those things would be addressed to have those changed. And the reason that it goes through the 3 readings is so that everybody gets enough time. However, that does not mean that it's not within the board's purview to make a motion like the one that's on the floor to postpone it for more time. But in asking, that's why the state law just makes sure that there's enough time for people to address those things, but if more is needed, it's absolutely possible. So in the future, I guess to throw it to you, when we have these on first reading, you can say, hey, I want this changed. And then when the second reading goes in, those changes would be made.
Right.
This thing could change, any ordinance when we're changing it, and it's going through the 3 readings, could change 3 or 4 times, but each time is the next reading, and the hope is that on the third reading, you get to the final ordinance that you want to have. But in this situation, it sounds like we need more time
So
because
are we
there's certain
supposed to
things.
bring up the changes now that we want to see? Or the questions we have now? Or do we, before the next meeting? Is what I'm asking you, is how do we,
It would be appropriate to bring those things up.
now? Or email
Yeah,
someone?
or get in touch. Either or would be permissible, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Throughout those readings, it would be permissible, yes. This is the third reading.
I
So yes,
understand.
now would be the time to say changes that a person wants. Now, if there are a lot of different changes and a lot of technical changes, it might be helpful to email, whether it be the administrator, the clerk, to talk to them about what language wants to be in there, but it is permissible that you would, let the board know now in discussion certain changes that you're shooting for.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
He's saying if you want, you can
No,
say
I'll
what you
talk to her about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna call the question. All in favor of postponing this item till the next village board meeting? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The, no ordinances have been, repealed, and no new ordinance has been put in place. Now, we have the same type of situation, and then on the next one, consideration of a motion to adopt on third reading an ordinance amending 78-56 through 78-62 of the Village of Heartland Code of Ordinances regulating street use permits.
I'll make a motion to postpone it till next meeting as well.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone this item until the next village board meeting. I'm just gonna ask the question for discussion, unless you get the floor first. So do you have anything you wanted to throw in?
No, go ahead.
I just want to ask, are there known changes that people want to be made?
I guess I
Yes.
need some clarification, and there's some, I would say some things brought up from the previous thing with the bike race that I was unaware of with signatures. So there's a few things in there that I think are being omitted that wasn't, at least in my personal opinion, wasn't clarified to me. I just need more clarification before I feel comfortable approving anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see it in there blatantly either, so I agree.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to postpone this item, which is we're not repealing any ordinance, we're not putting in to our code of ordinances, but the third reading has been read. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. That item will be postponed until the next board meeting. The next item we have are items that were referred from the Park and Recreation Board meeting. And this is a consideration of a motion to affirm the Park and Recreation Board approval of the use of Fine Arts Center and shelter number 4 for No Better Friends Corp. event. Kelly, the floor is yours.
My name is Kelly Yogers. I am the Recreation Director for Village of Heartland. We had No Better Friend Corp. Representative Daryl Carlson, who is in the crowd if you have any questions. He approached the village about doing a veterans-focused event at Nixon Park on July 16th. There would be a brat fry free to guests. This is open to the community, open to the public. Focus for veterans, bringing them together. All the permits that are needed, he did fill out. Fine Arts Center, because he's talked about live music, mobile application, in case he wants to bring a mobile cart in, and the park facilities, he is renting Shelter 4 to use as kind of like a station, have bounce houses and by the tennis courts. He has gone to Park Board, and they did recommend to make a motion to approve this event. Are there any questions? Daryl is here to answer.
From the event.
From the event.
If they could
Come on
come
up,
up, that'd be
Daryl.
great. Just to let the board know a brief, background, and if they do have any questions.
Yes, hi, thank you. My name is Daryl Carlson. I'm the Executive Director of No Better Friend Corp. We're a nonprofit based out of Waukesha, so not too far down the road. We are a nonprofit that does events all around the state, usually educational in nature, policy focused, but we wanted to do some more family-friendly events because most people don't want to bring their kids to policy events because it's boring. So we are planning an event here and in Eau Claire, same type of event. It's going to become completely open to the public. Everything is free. There will be family-friendly live music, bounce houses for the kids, face painting and such, and other things like that. But the primary focus of it is we're inviting other veteran nonprofits to come and set up tables and tents to essentially share information because I'm a veteran. I was in the Marine Corps for 9 years. I've been in the Army for 8, I think. And the founder of our group was also in the Marine Corps for about 8 years. So we're very well tied into the veteran community. And we do know that there are tons of veterans out there, both former veterans and then currently serving members that don't know what's out there for them in terms of veterans benefits. So we're going to invite pretty much every nonprofit that wants to come that offers a service and just have those set up for them to walk through, come get some food, listen to this live music. I've worked it out with the beer garden. They're going to give us 2 lines off their tap system, and they'll serve the beer for us at no charge. And then working with the local Legion and VFW to provide food service. And then we're also talking about bringing in a coffee truck and possibly tacos for those that don't like chicken or brats. So, and then.
When you say no charge on the beer lines, you do mean you're not being charged, correct? It's a donation?
Yeah, he's going to serve it to us for free. Yes.
It's no
Yeah. The free beer will be for the registered attendees of our event. It is free, but they still have to come registered to get a lanyard and to get a bracelet and all that stuff. So, yeah.
I was throwing in some humor, but I
Yes,
also
yes.
did want to clarify.
Absolutely,
You
yes,
gotta have a lot
yeah.
of trucks with barrels on it.
Oh, yeah, yes. So, yeah. That's pretty much the gist of it. It's just a family-focused event and just focusing on getting services out there. Our partner in the event is a group called Sierra Delta. It's actually a Marine that I served with in Iraq. He did lose a part of one of his legs, and he founded this organization that provides service and companion dogs for veterans. And they're based out of Reedsburg. But yeah, they're our partner in this event. So.
I'm glad you're choosing to do it in Heartland, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'd
It's a
like to
great
make
park. So.
Motion that we approve this No Better Friend Corp event.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve and affirm the Park and Recreation Board approval of the use of the Fine Arts Center of Shelter Number 4 for No Better Friends Corp. event, whatever date it's on.
July 16th.
July 16th, thank you.
And it's 4 to 8, so we're not gonna run late. We don't wanna make any neighbors mad, so.
No, you'll be fine. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. All opposed? That motion is carried.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item we have, these are items referred from the April 19th, 2021 Plan Commission meeting. Consideration and possible action as follows. Regarding Sand Hill East multifamily, a proposed PUD development project whose approval and rezoning is being sought from RS1 to RM3 by Seatman Realty Corporation on property tax key HAV 0388989001, located east of County Highway KE and north of County Highway K. The project is proposed to be 33 two-family buildings and 11 four-family buildings within a PUD with limited public improvements and private utilities and private roads. First, we will have a review of the rezoning petition and proposed draft planned unit development agreement and related exhibits. As you can see, just so everybody knows, there's a very long list of them and those were all electronic. They did not print those out. Item B, which is part of this same thing, is a consideration of a motion to schedule a public hearing. We do have to schedule, it's my understanding we have to schedule that public hearing. But that would be after we look at item A. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good. I believe that they are here if they want to speak. They can totally. So this did come from the Plan Commission. There is some things that are hanging out there that had to. They're not here. Tim, do you want to add anything on this, Mr. Rhodey?
Seatman's here.
I know.
Sure, so the Plan Commission did give a
I
positive
asked him.
recommendation to set the public hearing. So before the board can have the public hearing, obviously needs to set it. We run into that same issue with the 15-day minimum notice. So again, the applicant is requesting a joint meeting that we've done in the past where both the Plan Commission and the Village Board will hold that public hearing. Then any comments during that public hearing, then the Plan Commission can hear those comments, make its final recommendation, and then put it in the village hands. Put it in the Village Board's hands to take final action. So based on the calendar, the Plan Commission night of May 17th fits in that window for the public hearing. And so the action before you this evening is to set a public hearing. We've included all the documents that have gone from the Plan Commission, which there are many of. But the public, if the Village Board desires, they could set the public hearing for May 17th, 2021.
Thanks, Tim. One thing, and it isn't in here, but I do want the board to know, and I think that you have a right to know. It's going to be very hard to explain, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but this is one site that's on one side of Winkleman Road, and then there's another site that isn't part of this development at all, other than, obviously, when water's connected, they'll be connected, but it is the recommendation of the village attorney and the village engineer, and I just want to pass on to you guys that before granting or making it part of this, that we should try to secure up our well site, which we've already done all the work on. I just want to make sure you guys know that. It was at Plan Commission. That wasn't necessarily relayed to the board. It's not a fun conversation to have. In the long run, we probably could get it no matter what by doing eminent domain. But we also could just try to get it. Tim, do you want to provide any comment on any of that or not really?
Sure. So next to this parcel is a 40-acre undeveloped site that this same property owner owns. About 10 or 11 years ago, the village did some work to identify future well sites for the village. The property owner did give permission and let us go on there. R&M did do research and found a good location for a future well site. Originally, there was talk of making that well site them granting that well site to us as part of this development. And we continue to go back and forth with the developer as to how the logistics of that well site becoming a village site can work. Part of the challenge is the county has not, probably all of you are familiar with the S-curve of KE. The county has not finalized that location of the S-curve, and so it's hard to plot a piece of land to give to the village or to sell to the village for that well site until that S-curve is finalized. And that's some of the items that we're trying to work through and hopefully we'll have resolved before the public hearing on May 17th.
Mr. President?
Yes. Go ahead.
It's another hopefully. I think that we need this well site secured before we go any farther with anything. I mean, that's extremely important. If we don't get the well site secured, I don't want to go through eminent domain. Do you?
I don't.
Right.
And that doesn't, I hear you. I hear you. And so what they're asking for here is a PUD.
Right.
Now, the zoning that's there now, that can stay in place, but.
I think we should keep the zoning in place and keep everything in place right now until we get something that says, you know, we can have that well site, that it's ours. And until then, it doesn't make sense to go any further.
Mr. Steedman?
I had contacted Tim at the end of last week and told him that we would agree to put the well site in the PUD agreement. And we just ask you to give us a little time, so it'll be a document, a legal document that will work with the village to get that well site. But we will not have that available before we'd like to start phase 1 and 2. Time is running out for us to get started. We've been waiting for this public hearing for a long time. So I just ask you to let us put it into the PUD agreement. We'll get it done. We will have it, we promise to have it done before phase 3 gets started, and likely a lot sooner. We've been communicating with the county. We believe we have the alignment done. We just need documentation from them that they approve that location. But remember, this is a totally different site. We're asking you to develop 60 acres on the east side of Winkleman. This is 40 acres that's owned by a partnership that's other than the one that's proposing Sand Hill. And we're just walking on eggs here to make sure we don't cause any disruption. I promised before the Plan Commission, I will promise before you that we'll get this done. But don't hold us up. You hold us up now, just forget scheduling the public hearing. We're not going to be able to start this year.
Well, I don't like being threatened either, so.
I'm not threatening, I'm promising.
No,
that
that's a
we'll do
threat.
it. It's not.
Don't hold us up now.
Let's go easy.
That's a threat.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
Tone.
Okay.
No, we're not going to do anything, as far as I'm concerned, until we get that agreement.
It's, a motion would need to be made.
I make a motion that we don't do anything, we don't proceed any further with this until we get an agreement on the well site.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to hold up the PUD portion, because the zoning
Right.
still stays as it is, until the well site is in the agreement at this time, or at the same time as it's being decided on. Is that what you're motioning? Did you want to add anything?
I apologize if that seemed like a threat. It's our intent to work with the village to get a well site. I just don't understand why you'd want to hold up a project like
Then
this.
we can get it before the project goes.
Okay. All right.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Tim,
Yeah.
I take it that we should wait to set the public hearing until talks have been had on that agreement? I know you're saying don't set it, I'm just asking to make sure I'm doing this right, because it is on the agenda, or at this time, would we just postpone setting that public hearing, which I suppose we're within, the board's got the purview to do that, correct?
I believe you can postpone the public hearing. I think we would have to continue to work with the developer based on what I'm hearing from both sides. So we will continue to effort on that well site issue.
Okay.
Just so I'm clear, we can't do any development unless we give you a well, or we negotiate a well site.
Well, no, that's not.
I want it to be clear what you're holding us up for.
For the PU, because the zoning doesn't allow, the PUD is separate, so the PUD isn't, there's a couple ways the well site becomes part of it, and all of a sudden that's all getting done and we can get that thing secured. And then the PUD gets approved, and then the project as is in all the documents, then that just completely goes forward. Or a new concept comes forward that is single-family homes, the way it's zoned now, which I believe is RS1. I believe that's what it is. Whatever that zoning is now, that would then come for a concept, go to the plan commission, and go through that process that way. Otherwise, if it's the PUD, to get the PUD approved, basically what I'm hearing from the board is that they want to secure that up. The engineer is saying that it is not a good idea to move forward without securing that. The attorney is saying it's not a good idea. I mean, it puts us in a hard spot too. It really does. I'm not an expert engineer, but when the engineer is saying, hey, and when the attorney is saying, you got to go off of the advice that's,
So okay. So you have to have a well site to make it Sand Hill condominiums, just so I'm clear.
Oh, no, I didn't say that Sand Hill couldn't become condominiums without there being a well site. The village board is saying because we want to secure the safe of drinking water in Heartland for the next 75 to 100 years and have that well that you've already promised, it would be much easier since you're promising it to just reduce that to paper in writing and have it as part of the agreement. Since you're already promising it anyways, it'll be very easy to put that right in and then we work out however those details are so that we can secure that up because...
And are you expecting that to be given to the village?
I didn't indicate that.
I'd like to just have a feel from the board if they're expecting that to be given to them.
I must say
Or
for
purchased.
clarification though that I said at the plan commission, I didn't say anything about giving and said negotiating. And I did say that, you
Yes,
were
you
there. You were there.
You were-
I just
yeah.
want to make sure, because I never said giving, and I
No,
know
you
that
said
was a
purchase.
misnomer for a little while.
You said purchase at the plan.
I'd never indicated, and I don't think the village should take it for nothing. I don't. I don't.
So you have to have that site designated and resolved before you'll go forward with a public hearing, is that the case?
No, we can have a public hearing. The board approving the PUD is what the, yes.
So
We could
could
still
we
set the
set-
public hearing.
So could we set the public hearing for May 17th and see what we can get done in the next 3 weeks to get this resolved?
We could reconsider it, but whoever made the motion would have to do that. If you really want the public hearing, I mean, it can be set if someone on the board wants that. We can set the public hearing.
I would appreciate
I know.
if we could get that done.
Who made the motion?
I don't care.
To postpone the public hearing?
Postpone,
No,
yeah, postpone everything until we get that in writing.
No, I know. It's, how do I say this? Out of, emotions were running high, and it was like, hey, just, so the public hearing was postponed to decide on the public hearing until we know about that. I'm just letting everybody know legally, a person that made a motion can recall or reconsider the motion that they've made.
No, because that's a public hearing. I think the public should know if we've secured that site too.
No, I agree with you.
So,
I'm just saying what legally people, we don't have to.
no, I'm sticking by
We
the
don't.
motion.
Okay.
What I said though is.
I know what
You
you
would
said.
consider that, we would get it resolved before the public hearing. If we can't, we will cancel that public hearing. So it gives us 3 weeks to work with Hector and Ryan to get that site resolved before the public hearing. That's what I'm asking now.
All right, I'll
would-
change the motion then.
Just
to
request it. All you need to do is request the
request-
board if you can reconsider, and then if they
Can I
allow, we can,
request
and
the
we can
board
always
to
cancel the public
reconsider?
hearing at a later time too. I'm just letting you know what options you have. So trustee Hanson is reconsidering. It would be up to the board to bring up to put that public hearing on. Is that, if anybody has any questions procedurally, please.
So we're not voting on the PUD or anything, it's just a public
We
hearing.
already voted
right
on that.
now.
We postponed it.
Right.
That's separate.
Okay, now the
The
public
public
hearing.
hearing, we postponed the public hearing.
Right.
Legally, according to the rules in which we operate,
I
you
get
can reconsider and then ask the board if it's okay if you reconsider, and basically another vote will be taken. Now, if anybody objects, please say so, so that we can
Reconsider
talk
what
about it.
part?
Just the
You're
public hearing.
The public hearing.
No, it's, you're reconsidering the motion.
Right.
You're asking the
Okay.
board to retake up your motion so that
Okay.
you can change it. That's what reconsidering the motion is. But the person who made the motion has to make that request.
I'm making a request to reconsider the motion.
Will the board allow? If anybody objects, please say so. You can reconsider your motion and state it again and then see if you get a second.
The motion would be to postpone the PUD, but keep the public hearing in place. And Seaman will work on getting the documents in order for the well site prior to the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to set the public hearing in anticipation that the proper work, paperwork, and documentation and negotiation will have been done to secure the well site before the public hearing.
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. That was the 17th that public hearing is set for.
Thank you for the reconsideration, and I apologize for how I acted. So, I'll see you on the 17th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item we have is consideration of a motion to approve an extraterritorial certified survey map for the property located at N46W28542 Willowbrook Court in the town of Delafield. This is one of those extraterritorial things. We've looked at it at the Plan Commission. We do, because we're a village and they're a town, we get to look at anything that's within whatever it is, a mile and a half around the village. So I think it looks good, but it's up to you guys to.
I'll make a motion to approve the extraterritorial certified survey map for property located at N46W28542 Willowbrook Court in the town of Delafield.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the extraterritorial certified survey map for the property on Willowbrook Court. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Other items for discussion. We have discussion and consideration of a conceptual plan for development of vacant property west of the end of Badger Drive and Eagle Pass by Newman Developments, Inc.
Hi, everyone. For the record, Brian Lindgren with Newman Developments. To start, I guess I need to apologize for one thing, and that's missing the start time of a meeting 2 weeks ago. You'd think I'd have that as a standing appointment in my calendar by now. So I apologize for that. But why am I here tonight? We're no strangers to the Village of Harlan, Newman Developments. We've done other developments here. With that, we get a lot of phone calls when folks are selling their land, asking, what can I do with this? Will you help me? And that's, it's come forward to us, a couple properties that are, we consider infill. We've looked at them. I've been to meetings here in the past where different development options were proposed. Given that the Village of Harlan is a desirable place to live, we are not turning down any look at any options at this point. We would consider absolutely developing this if that's the will of the board. With that said, there are two parcels that we have included in our conceptual proposal for development. One of them comes off of Merton Avenue. One of them is the Hammer property that I know has been here before. The overall challenges with the site have always been that it's an assemblage. So it's getting multiple properties consolidated together to try and put something together that meets the smart growth plan of the village. We approached multiple landowners, made verbal offers to multiple landowners at prices 20% or more of the assessed value. Two folks wanted to sell. So those are the ones that we've included in our proposal. The proposal that we came up with is our crack at what is most consistent with the desires of the village and the smart growth plan, which involves the areas to the east being, and I've got it here, being low density residential, and as you move to the west, low medium density residential. In fact, the Hammer property is already zoned RS1, so following that theme is what we've presented. I've had the chance to look at, I was able to locate the plat and covenants of Lake Country Meadows to the east, after hearing from some of those residents as to what their concerns may be. Largely, they were home property value related, as one being one of the primary ones. The covenants that they have propose homes, ranch homes, a minimum of 2,000 square feet, two-story homes, a minimum of 2,400 square feet, natural exteriors, 8-12 roof pitches, things that are typical in nice neighborhoods. We have no disagreements with that. We have no objection to following the similar rules. We can't be part of the association, we'd have to be an adjacent association, but as far as that's concerned, we like the area. The plan, from that point, the challenges have always been, what do we do with the internal lands and how do we not block them off? So what you'll see on the concept is the Southern Road Eagle Pass, which right now ends in just a dead end, no turnaround whatsoever, would be finished off with a cul-de-sac, with a couple lots off of that. Those lots would conform to the RS1 zoning, the way we have it drawn. And in the north on Badger Drive, that would extend internal to be able to provide yet future development options to internal parcels that are there. Part of which is available right now is the eastern portion of a property that comes off of Merton Avenue. We would split that home off. That home would stay independent, and the 2 acres in the rear that is not being used for anything currently would become part of the neighborhood. Because this has been such a challenge thus far, and the other plans that have come forward, we've proposed that one as ending in a cul-de-sac as well. But that cul-de-sac would come down to the southern portion of the property as we have drawn. That at least would allow emergency vehicles some place to turn around, plows someplace to turn around, but also the right-of-way would be adjacent to really the remaining 3-acre parcel that someday could be developed in accordance with the village's desires. So with that in mind, this is a conceptual plan. We're here to get feedback from the board and what you all think. Is this, in your opinion, consistent with the smart growth comprehensive plan? Is it consistent with zoning? Is it something that the village would like to see?
I have to say, I was a bit shocked. I would much rather like to see what was before us before, which was a 4-house development. I think that is way too many houses for that area. I don't think it's good for that neighborhood. I liked the, I really liked the plan that came before us before, which was, I believe, 4 houses. I don't think that's in the best interest of Heartland. I just think it's too much.
This area, just a note for the board's benefit, is identified as low-density residential in the smart growth plan, which is 1 to 2.5 units per acre. What we've proposed is 1.5. It comes out to about 1.5 units per acre. So it's well within the smart growth and density plan.
Well, this is why we do these things, and I appreciate you presenting. This is why we do these things. It does, I'm just going to be straight with you, and obviously we've worked together on a lot of different things. I mean, I don't think this is a fun site, but I think it does seem really, really choppy. And I understand, I mean, development is going, and it's, if someone calls you and says, hey, you gotta come ask, right? But I don't like that it landlocks the land that is just in between the entrance ramp for Highway 16, and I feel like we're just getting rid of one problem property, and then someday we're gonna have another problem property when that one sells. I think we're just trying to grab a bunch of squares that can be developed, and we're developing those, but not, it's not very systematic. And that's nothing wrong with what you're doing. That's the land that you have to work with. I really, I'm not, it seems like we're developing for development's sake instead of what's in building Heartland. So it is nothing against you. I'm just telling you,
And that
not.
precisely is the challenge with assemblages.
Oh, yeah, and
You gotta try to
this
get
property's
multiple
been a problem, or
properties.
that area, it's been tough for a long time, and I just wanted to be straightforward with you and just tell you I personally I'm not for sending it to the plan commission. It wouldn't be something that I'm looking to see there.
I would concur with both comments. It's a tough it's a tough parcel of land. You're talking about a lot going in there, concentrated really quickly. I'm just concerned. I'm obviously concerned about the traffic on Merton Avenue. It's already so thick there, and now we're gonna add it. But it's tough because I get it. It's like there's some opportunity, and I mean, I appreciate you trying to be creative. This is a creative way to try to grow Heartland, and you're looking within the plan, and I appreciate that. That's awesome. But I'm struggling with the location. I've struggled with that site for a while, just so you know.
I think everybody has.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's the
absolutely. But I mean,
challenge.
you're definitely hitting the specs of what I think we're looking to do in Heartland by looking at single-family homes, and you're taking a good look at those, and I appreciate that. And I want to make sure that goes on record.
Those are the same concerns I've heard every time this has come forward.
Yeah.
Is that, what do you do with the vacant land that's tucked in, surrounded by residential already? You know, in hindsight, would have been great to develop the entire mess altogether 30 years ago. But that's what happens.
Yeah.
So here we are with a fragmented section of Heartland that we're taking a crack at, and that's why I'm here. I don't want to waste your time or my time and money and push this, any further, than if there's not a desire to get something done here. It's very simple.
So, I hate to ever have a negative motion, like, to make a motion to not do something, but, I guess just as a vote, if we wanted to, I don't know where everybody stands on this, but I mean, we could vote to say, in its current form, we don't want to send this to Plan Commission, or someone may want to send it to Plan Commission, and they could make that motion also. Something that just puts it on record. This is concept plan, so that would be appropriate. I suppose we could even have a motion saying, based on what we see, we don't,
I will make a motion not to send this as proposed to the Plan Commission.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to not send the concept plan as proposed to the Plan Commission. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you for presenting and.
I appreciate your time. And for the landowner's benefit, the only thing I would ask is if whether now or at a different time, give them feedback on what the village might like to see.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah,
And I
it's
like
tough.
what you
I
said
mean,
about the homes and trying to make
It's
them
not my property,
match,
I'm
but
not the
that's
one
just
trying
not.
to sell it.
Yeah, no.
But I'm here to try to help them out, and that's all we can do.
That's good feedback.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That is hard, because he's not ours to smoke.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is consideration of a motion to approve contractor's application for payment number 1 in the amount of $130,809.62 to Always Contractors, Inc. for the 2021 Utilities Program. Sir.
Dave Falconer, Utility Supervisor. The 2021 Utilities Program was a budgeted item through the capital budget. In that, it included utility upgrades in Mary Hill Subdivision, Industrial, on East Industrial Drive as well. So Always Incorporated is seeking their first payment for the utility, sanitary sewer, water valve boxes, and storm sewer inlets, and some miscellaneous curb repair for the sum of $130,809.62. Village staff recommends the payment for the sum of $130,809.62 to Always Incorporated for the work completed so far. Yes,
Did they do the crack sealing already?
they did not.
I looked and I just didn't see, is it,
No.
Thunder
Thunder
somebody-
Road, that's a different contract.
Okay, but are they the ones that are doing are we having this repaved at all, or is it just,
For the Mary Hill subdivision, this is utility work, we always do a year ahead of paving.
gotcha, okay,
That's for settlement.
okay, I understand.
I'll move that we pay Always Inc. For their payment, for their
Second.
work.
Oh, second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve payment number one in the amount of $130,809.62 to Always Contractors, Inc. for the 2021 Utilities Program. Discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Faulkner. Next we have, I gotta pull this up. Oh, thank you. The next item on the agenda is consideration of a motion to confirm board, commission, and committee appointments. You all were given a list, and if you'd like me to read it, I can. Everyone that served in their capacity last year has kept their positions, except for there's two positions that are changing. One of them is Police and Fire Commission. Ralph Redlin, after a very long time of serving on the PFC, he has stepped away, and the appointment that I'm putting forth, and I had included in the sheet, a sheet or a bio, was on Trevor DeBoer. He's a veteran. He works as a police officer already. I think he'll be fantastic. I think he'll be good in as we get new voices and things like that. I think that that's a good position for someone with his military and police background. I think that that's good. The other one is Dr. Dawn Nelson for the library board. I included a bio on her also. Again, just want to touch on Trevor DeBoer is being appointed for a 5-year appointment. That's how PFC is. These other ones, that's a 3-year. But Dr. Dawn Nelson, I've talked with this person a lot, seems to be smart and have some background. And as we transition through the boards, like we've done through Park Board, Plan Commission, a lot of them, creating ECOS, there's a lot of different transition. Obviously, that started with this board, transitioning. So I feel that that's a good appointment, that I submit these to the board in hope of their approval. If anybody would like to speak regarding these appointments, I believe there may be some here. Please feel free to step towards the podium at this time.
Janet Schmidt, currently on the library board. I feel there still was no reason given to me except for change. But this is unprecedented, that someone is taken off of a board for no action of theirs. So this is still being questioned by more than myself.
Well, you've served outstandingly for 30 years. You've been part of huge changes, and I know that sometimes as the village transitions, it's tough. And for a few years, I know we've seen transition, and I take it on myself to make some of those hard decisions. But as we transition, I hope that in time we can look at how grateful we can be. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've had, and I want you to be grateful for the 30 years that you've been able to serve. I don't want it to all of a sudden turn into that because you didn't get 33, that this should all end with a blemish, instead of being that it's the wonderful things you've done over the 30 years. But I do want to open it to more voices and begin that transition.
It would have been nice to have a discussion where I might have said 6 months transition, something like that, but I was not given that choice. You were very blunt on what you wanted. So I'm just making that comment.
Well, thank you for your comments, and thank you for all you've done for Heartland and the library.
So I'll be another voice to back up Janet, and am I on?
Address.
Oh,
No.
I'm like, what's wrong?
No, you can keep the mask
it's
on,
okay.
just your name and
I'm Ann Grievenkamp. I live at 618 Renson Road, and I'm a lifer. So 43 years I've lived here. I was a lap now. I don't know if I should say this out loud or not, but my mom's on the Police and Fire Commission. But I'm going to second that. I also want to understand. why Janet is being removed. And while I appreciate what you're saying, I still don't understand, because you're still not telling us.
Okay.
So I think
Janet's not being removed. Janet's not being reappointed.
Okay, I'm sorry.
A
Janet's not
term
being
begins and a
reappointed.
term ends.
Okay, so she's been there for 30 years, which I know I was like 10
And
when she started. So that's my question too. I would like to understand, I would love to know the transparency. I would also like to understand what direction the board is moving in. You said it's moving, we're changing. So what does that change? What does
it's
the
just
library
bringing on
change?
different people and having more voices. The village board has changed. New people have come on. The plan commission has changed. The park board has changed. I do think that when people get the opportunity to serve on a board for 30 years, that it does become time to open up those doors to other voices, not necessarily based on age. I don't want to say younger voices, but different people. We are a collective body as a village, and having people being able to give input, I think, is a great thing. I hope this doesn't ever turn into, that someone serves for 30 years and then all of a sudden it's bad if there's a new direction that people can go in. People may not like the decision I'm making, and maybe it won't get approved. I hope it does. But I'm thankful for the years of service. I haven't had this happen before, where people have gotten so upset. I did take Jack Wenstrom was put on the plan commission after he lost as a trustee. He was put on the plan commission. Yes, I did. I made the change because it was the same people that were involved. This isn't based on that. This is transitioning and moving forward, and it's I can't give you a better I can't give you a better reason than that, and you may not like that reasoning, but I think it's time that we start transitioning now. I may believe differently. I don't think that the library is just going to fall apart. I think that the library is going to continue to build on the foundation that's been put there for the last 30 years, and it's a heck of a strong foundation. I really believe that. I understand it may hurt feelings, but these are the things that we do. I guess what I would express to every single person, and I'm going to go around to the boards in the next month and let every single person know, be happy with the term that you're on. There's no guarantee I'm going to be the village president 2 years from now, because they might vote someone new in. But only when you get recalled do you get ripped out of office. It's just that the people would be saying, we want someone new. But I
apologize for the wrong term.
No, you're right. I'm just saying, but I know it's tough sometimes. It's emotional and it's difficult. But the truth is, we are transitioning, and there was a time 30 years ago when someone else that had been on for a long time gets replaced. New people can come in and they can do good things, and I hope people help them out. It's the decision I'm making. I have the best interest of the village at heart, and I'm sorry if that's not a good enough decision. I don't feel that Janet has to do something bad to come off the board, and she hasn't. And I just don't think that has to happen. I think sometimes it's time, and that was my feeling.
I do ask to rejoin Ann because there's a piece of this that's missing.
Okay, I appreciate your time. Thanks. Go ahead.
The library board has a continual change already. Naturally, people leave for one reason or another. Right now, we have a board that's ages late 20s on up to somebody old like myself, and I'm not the oldest. But when we have somebody leaving, we discuss, all right, what do we need to add to the library board? What piece will we be missing? We look for a strong candidate, and of course, this is the board, staff, the library director, and we come to an idea of who we might want, and then it goes to the village president to approve or ask more questions. So there's always change in the library board, and we don't just bring in my best friend or anything like that. So change is a constant with all of the boards, and it naturally happens with the library board.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I said to you on the phone last week, you don't know the timing of what openings are going to come up. One might come up in 2 weeks, 2 months. But meanwhile, I'm being removed just because you want change. And that's what a lot of us are questioning. But it does happen periodically.
Well, I appreciate your comments, and I'm sorry if my reasoning doesn't appear rational, and if it seems something other than unjust. But sometimes I guess I make a decision in the hopes that it's the best for Heartland, and that doesn't mean everybody's going to like it. And I just trust that people will trust me and my character, but I can't force that upon anybody. And Janet, I do, I commend your 30 years of service, and I'm very thankful, and I find it very unfortunate that because, after 30 years of service, that because there's not an additional 3, that it has to be a blemish type situation as we're finding ourselves in right now. Board, I've made the appointments asking for your approval. It's up to you on how you want to proceed with those.
Are you looking for an, I'm sorry, just clarifying for myself, because I got a lot going on up here now. I'm sorry, it's been a long one. Are you looking for them to be done individually by each committee?
It's up to you. You can do that. You can, I mean, it's really up, I mean, you can.
The only reason I say that is because on the list, the Ice Age Trail Community Committee does not have.
Correct.
So
I'm still
we
working on
probably,
that.
yeah, so we probably wouldn't, we probably want to take them one night. Or you would want that
Yeah,
excluded.
I would just not even touch it. Because one of the names is wrong.
Right.
Sorry. I didn't make appointments for that one. The one
Approve it
highlighted,
with
I
the
didn't make
exception
appointments.
of
You might tell him.
pending.
so that I don't hold you.
Right,
the
that's what I'm
Ice
saying,
Age
so we can't just do the whole, you can't
Robin,
say.
You can,
the list was, these lists were sent to me.
Yeah.
The highlighted list, they're, just don't touch it.
Right, that's what I was just
I've
asking,
made
so
no
I wouldn't, we wouldn't want to do the whole thing by emotion, is what I'm saying. We would probably just take it one by one, right?
or you can do
Or
the whole thing
exclude-
with one
exclusion.
exclusion, the ones that haven't been
Right.
approved for
That
future
committee.
approval.
That's what I was asking.
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, I will make a motion to approve the appointments for new terms for the committees as Board of Review, Del Hart, Heartland Public Library Board, Joint Architectural Plan Commission, Park and Recreational Board, Police and Fire Commission, and Environmental Corridor and Open Space.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the appointments that are on the list, with the exception of Ice Age Trail Community Committee. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. That list is approved. I will be working on Ice Age Trail. I do want to fill that vacancy. There is one wrong name on there, so we'll get that all cleaned up and corrected. What do we got? We have discussion and action on 2 requests for Arrowhead School District annexation petitions dated September 29th, 2020. They are here, and if they would like to speak, if you want them to speak, if you want to answer questions, you can. Basically, they sent us a letter rescinding their petition for the school portion, which is school building grounds, and rescinding the annexation of the farmland. That does not mean there's not the anticipation that will come into Heartland, but at this time, they're just pulling it back into their own hands. It does not, this is not any reflection of any problems with any relationships or anything. It's just working out better this way, but it's not, no one needs to read through it farther than it is. They're just pulling it back. If anybody has any questions, they can ask him. But otherwise, we can make a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2 requests from Arrowhead School District's annexation petitions dated September 29th, 2020.
Okay, so can you clarify that you're approving
The withdrawal.
that they are allowed to withdraw? We're accepting their withdrawal.
Accepting their
Yep,
withdrawal, excuse me.
okay, all right.
Yep.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the withdrawal of Arrowhead's annexation requests for 2 different parcels. And those are 2 separate withdrawals for 2 separate petitions. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Again, I really want to stress, and hopefully one of you can say the same, this is not a reflection of Heartland's relationship in any way, shape, or form. It's working out easier going this way. There's no hiccups or anything.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And thank you for the opportunity just to close the door on it. Just real briefly, recall, we did come with a partnership proposal about the campus and the farm and the connector road. And we've not stopped doing our research from then, from September. And our strategy now going forward, we're all set with our marketing strategy. And we're gonna roll that out probably within a month or less. I did want to comment on the one public comment that was made that we're desperate for money. It's not quite that bad. And that we're going to take any and all offers. We're definitely in line with what Swallow and I'm sure some Four Winds residents would want for that parcel of land. We are, obviously, the more residential properties benefit school districts because kids count for state aid. And so we definitely would support that type of, whether it stays, the future owner keeps it in the town of Merton or brings it into the village Heartland, that'd be up to that. But we're conscious of if a commercial person came forward, our antennas would be up, because we're not going to respond to rumor mills. A lot of the stuff, you guys have gotten the emails, you've gotten the social media posts, you get all this stuff, we've gotten the same ones. Where it starts, we don't know. It gets perpetuated, and then all of a sudden, people are locked in that that's what's going to happen, when in reality, those conversations never have occurred, okay? So thank you for the opportunity. I would propose in our continued discussions, if you want to discuss a partnership on the connector road, I know your citizens, certainly the ones along North Avenue and Chestnut Ridge, came forward in the past. We would like to continue those discussions, but the Village of Heartland has to steer that conversation because it's your land. You have to build a road. We can't build a road on your land. But we are open for discussions, whenever you think the timing is correct, to potentially partner on a connector road. We think it certainly would benefit our campus, definitely would benefit our neighbors. In closing, I just wanted to make one comment too. Back in January at the meeting, there was a comment made about Arrowhead building houses on our main campus. And that's never, ever been discussed. That was something that a developer threw kind of out there in discussion. We never gave it any consideration. We're selling 42-acre farm. We cannot and will not ever give up land on our main campus to build houses. That never even made sense to us. We never had discussion on it. It was never brought forward in my board. So I just wanted to put that out there, that's just total garbage. So, and that's what it is. It's total garbage. So, but I also wanted to make sure I didn't forget, you've all met Laura before. Laura is our outstanding superintendent at Arrowhead. And I'm also joined by Tim Langer. Tim is one of my partners on the school board. He just wanted to be here as well. Tim and I have had a number of discussions. We kind of our own little subcommittee dealing with the land, the farm. So he wanted to be part of this, witnessing this as well. So thank you for all your consideration on this, and thank you for the vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. We did get a vote, correct?
Yep.
Announcements? Sometimes there's not going to be a lot.
Tony has 2 minutes.
Mr. Falconer, the floor is yours for as long as you want.
All right, so our concrete gentlemen that are working downtown are ahead of schedule. So I received a call this afternoon at 3:30. Milling of East Capitol Drive is gonna take place Monday. I wanna give everybody, so they're a week early. The calls will start pouring in Monday morning. Because it's going to be loud, it's going to be messy, and I just want to give you a heads up. So that'll be a week-long project. Weather permitting, they're actually talking about milling Monday, structure adjustment and crack filling Tuesday and Wednesday, paving Thursday, and they're going to stripe it Friday. So if the weather holds out, that road will be open on Saturday.
Fingers crossed.
Wow.
Fingers crossed.
Nice.
Good.
Wow.
And go on vacation because the phone calls are coming in.
Just a follow-up to that. Just a follow-up to that. I just wanted to say I appreciate the communications that Rupert and Milky have taken on for like our residents and businesses. I'm getting those emails and they're phenomenal. Really well done. So if you talk with them, kudos. It's exactly what this board's looking for
this
is
email will
constant
come out
communication. Yeah, that's phenomenal.
tonight.
And so thank you to them.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other announcements?
I do have an announcement, well, not an announcement, but just saying that our police department was recognized at the Chamber's Kudo Dinner this past week, and it was well-deserved of everything they've done, so it was a great event.
Very well deserved.
Good job.
Yeah, nice. And with that, I'll make the motion that we adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded, thirded, and fourth that we adjourn this meeting. All in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned.